Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more comics, and I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about. There's several different books out there. You know, we're trying to talk about the books and not about the drama surrounding Marvel and DC and all that other stuff. Instead, I like to talk about the actual books, the books we like, not the books we hate, not the drama that, you know, is always present in the comic book world, but the books. And I thought about talking about Three Jokers, but I mean, everybody and their brother's been talking about Three Jokers. It's good. Okay? And I kind of thought about talking about what's going on in Joker War, but I think I'm going to wait until that's all done. Instead, what we're going to be talking about is Marvel Zombies Resurrection. The first two issues, even though they're both number ones because it's Marvel, right? I wanted to talk about them because first I wanted to say, talk about, yes, DCeased has been going on for a little while now. It was a surprise to, I think, a lot of people that it was actually really good, and it's kept going, and usually, DCeased, the first series, was really, really great. And then you got DCeased Unkillables. There was a one-shot, like the Deceasing, and then you've got DCeased Dead Planet going on. And usually, you know, a series goes on and keeps spinning off and going in different books, and usually it's like a sequel, right? There's like diminishing returns, diminishing quality, but it's stayed pretty constant. I don't know why they don't just continue to just call it DCeased. It's not, but you know, whatever. I think it's maybe just kind of I don't know why they're doing it. But Marvel Zombies Resurrection then came out a few months back. You know, and I thought to myself, are they trying to jump on the bandwagon that is the DCeased train? Now, there was Marvel Zombies. There's been several Marvel Zombie series in the past. You know, during when Walking Dead was really popular, you know, like in the early season, like everybody was jumping on the zombie train, man. Everybody was doing zombies, till we were blue in the face. And I never really wasn't into comics back then. I had stopped reading for a good long while. And I've seen some of the Marvel Zombie stuff, and it's fine. But I'm not, like, hardcore into the old lore. And this is, like, another universe. This is, like, you know, a universe that didn't have all this happening. But this universe does have, like, Krakoa going on, I believe. Or did. Before the events of this book happened. And so, what I was thinking was, were they jumping on the back of DCeased? Sure, probably. But the real question is it any good? Is it as good as DCeased? It's definitely different than DCeased, but also kind of feels a little similar. And while I wish, you know, Marvel would, you know, make something that's not what somebody else is doing right now. The real thing that I like to focus on is, well, if you're going to do something that somebody else is doing right now, will it, you know, at least make it good? And I happen to think that what they're doing is really good. And of course Marvel's got like a bazillion different covers, but I really just like the standards. Like this one's, I really dig both of these. I really like this one a lot. I love this. And so I figured, let's talk about Marvel Zombies Resurrection, because I'm getting a lot of Walking Dead feels from not the first issue, but from the second number one. I'm getting a lot of like very Walking Dead feels from it. And what's happening in this book, also, it's by Philip Kennedy Johnson. I need to mention that right off the bat. Who's writing one of the best books out there called The Last God. It's one of DC's Black Label books, and it's high fantasy. And it's really, really good. So getting him in this book, I was like, oh, wow, okay, well, at least they've got a pretty decent writer. And Leonard Kirk, he's done a ton of stuff. He's been working quite a while. And he's, I guess, reserved exclusively right now for Marvel. But the first book is kind of like an event book. It's got that big, you know, everything bad is going to happen here, you know, like, and we've got the typical group of people that they, you know, you see go... body out here. There's a little Edgar Allan Poe quote about It is evident that we are hurrying onward towards some exciting knowledge, some never to be imparted secret whose attainment is destruction. Okay. Another thing I wanna bring up really quickly. Hang on a second here. There's a noise. Okay, so what I wanted to say was that I'm not that familiar with the Marvel zombies in the past, so I'm just going off of what's happening in here and not off of anything that's happened in the past. Just because there's going to be a moment in here, a couple of moments where it's something is happening that a character knows or is familiar with what's happening, but I'm not. So I'm just kind of going like, okay, well, I hope I find out along the way, or somebody will put it in the comment section what it is we're talking about. But they get this signal that Galactus was headed towards Earth, and he's not anymore. And you've got Cap, Beast, and Reed Richards and Tony Stark there, and how they got this message from Captain Marvel to head out to this place out in space, and they took this picture, and it looks like Galactus there, this real weird shaky image. And of course, if Galactus is coming to Earth, everybody starts wetting their pants. But if he's not moving, they want to be able to get out there and find out if he's dead, how he died, and make sure that nobody else gets his technology. Because then it'd be somebody who would use it against Earth. It's typical stuff right here. Get a big team together of everybody from the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, everybody to go out there. The one thing that I just kind of felt was like, he's like, we need your heavy hitters. Which is basically like saying in this book, to the audience, say goodbye to everybody powerful. Get ready for them to be zombies and going after everybody that's left on Earth. And they got everybody. They got Magneto. They got Iron Man. They got Magic. They got all the Fantastic Four up there. They got Thor. They got War Machine. They got Iron Man, Captain America, Wolverine, Beast. It's just a who's who of heavy hitters that go out there. And there's some nice banter in here, before it all goes down. Is it really important to know some of this stuff? I mean, Johnny Storm talking about how he's afraid of hippos, that kind of thing. But they get out there and they see, Galactus looks very dead and very like when he died, it wasn't he was in a lot of like, oh shit. I see that though. You turn on those lights, it's like press the brakes on the ship and go, let's back up a distance, because still. So they go out there. They notice that somebody was there already. So they've got to break up into teams. And Wolverine gets there, and he takes off his helmet because they find out it's breathable air, and he sniffs around, and he's like, smells like the inside of a dead body, but it's breathable. There's another smell, though, under the rot. Something I smelled somewhere before. Now, as soon as Wolverine says something like that, like if I were to hear that, if I was part of the party, right? If I was just Rob, I don't know what my powers would be, but if I was for some reason there, and Wolverine, I'm familiar with him, right? And as a character, I'd be familiar with Wolverine, and he says something like that, I go, I'm gonna go wait on the ship. In fact, is there a way back out of here? Because if he says something like that, my spidey sense would be tingling. But otherwise, you don't have a story if they don't really, they have to make you wait until, it gets real good. The most dramatic event for him to like reveal like, oh, this is what happened. And that's what they do. So they, basically they find out that all of Galactus has been kind of used as a ship. And that it's basically somebody's running him, like got electricity kind of going through him, and they're running him. And there's still more cute little moments of everybody talking, Wolverine saying he's got Magic's back. But right as I said, it's like Wolverine feels it. He's like, oh no, he's like, I smell that, and I remember that smell now. I know what this is. Ileana, get everyone out of here right now. And it's like, Logan, you came. Like he's like, guys, we got to get out of here. Magic, there's, she's the teleporter. She could get everybody out. But instead, you got Reed and everybody blasting through, wanting to see where all this power is leading. And there's dead Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers is now turned into, damn it, this thing. She's a zombie, but she's not like a regular zombie. She's talking. She can understand things. And she's like, you've never known. He's saying that I can smell you, freak. I remember you. And she's like, no, Logan, you've never known any like us. We're something new. So I'm thinking that there was some sort of Marvel zombie situation that maybe a version of Wolverine remembers. But I don't know. I would love for anybody to tell me what the hell is going on with what Wolverine knows and nobody else seems to. But Magic, instead of getting everybody out, stupidly attacks and basically goes down right away. So your teleporter is gone, right? And there's a great shot, soon we'll know all of you. And he's kind of overwhelmed here. But of course, you see him in another frame, in a little bit, where he's still fine. And the rest of them quickly find out, as they're traipsing around this place, that there's the Silver Surfer. Basically, all these galactic superheroes and characters are also a part of this thing. So that does not, if they couldn't survive it, how will they? And they're quickly overwhelmed. Magneto's bit. Captain America tells Thor, get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Tell Rhodey to blast the hell out of this place. I'm giving you an order. You say you protect Midgard. We're fucked. So get it, get as little damage out there as possible. But on the way out, there's old Gladiator standing in the way as Thor's facing him. Now, conveniently, if I'm Thor, I just kind of fling Mjolnir as hard as I could right at Gladiator and just blast past him. Just blast past him. Don't worry about fighting him. The goal is to get out. And during this, Johnny Storm, he's killed. And he turns to, Sue, it's not what we thought. Come and see. So they keep saying, look at what we've seen. We all see this. So I don't know what it is. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the anti-life thing that's happening in DCeased, where they're dead but not quite dead. There's some kind of part of them kind of still in there. So to me, it's less like a zombie kind of thing and more like some sort of crazy infection that has killed them but is somehow keeping them kind of alive in some sort of collective hive mind. But, everybody goes down. Ben Grimm kills Johnny Storm. And then Sue comes and she gets taken too. She's exposed to it. And she's like, you always have to see what's out there in the dark. Well, now you've seen it, haven't you? Take a good look. Come and see, Reed. Come and see. And I'm reading this and it's all... You have to take it with a grain of salt and just be like, are you in for the ride or aren't you? And I think, sometimes you just need a bit of fun, and that's what this is. But, Rhodey's there. Hey, what's going on? Oh, thank God, there's Thor. Oh, shit. No. It's... And Thor comes and blasts right through the ship, and everything just goes hunky-dory, right? Meanwhile, we jump back to Earth, where Spider-Man has been taking care of Val and Franklin Richards for the Fantastic Four. Nice guy that he is. It's old Spidey. I love this shirt, by the way. I haven't worn it in forever. He's taking care of him, and they're like, oh, hey, I see something in space. And, little Val says, if we ever do get it all figured out, if we ever get to the end of the universe and find all the answers we've been looking for, I bet it's going to be real scary. Now, this frame here shows Galactus heading straight into the planet. Now, if Galactus were to hit the planet like that straight on, it would basically be the end of everything. So I don't know how I feel about that frame. Because there would be... It would cause a kind of... If he didn't just blow right through the planet, right? And just crack it in half... It would cause an explosion that would be an extinction level event and everyone would just be gone. everyone would just be gone. So, like I said, you got to take it with a grain of salt because once you jumped into the next issue, um, this is where it gets more like The Walking Dead, and I really, really dig it. It's more like survival horror with the characters that are left that aren't taken and how they run into several along the way, of course, that have been taken and trying to just keep themselves alive. But when we see the very first frame, we see that Galactus is just standing there in the city. So I guess they might have retconned that last frame frame page where he's just standing there and you see everybody running from all these like heroes that have turned, and there's Storm and Thor. It looks like maybe even Sentry there. You know, there's just a ton of people, all the heroes just attacking everyone. And you have Spider-Man and Mary Jane and the kids, and they're all on the run trying to stay alive. So after the events of the first issue, you know, Spidey gets in one of the Fantastic cars, grabs Mary Jane, and tries to book it. And there's, you know, vultures after him, and he gets blasted. And guess what? They're like, oh, God, thank you. It's the Fantastic Four. Yay! But then they see that Johnny Storm he's not himself. And he blasts the car, and it goes careening down, and Peter falls out of it. And he wakes up, and there's Moonstone, Forge, and Val, and Franklin, and the cat. Whoops. The cat from Captain Marvel. The one with the big old monster inside it. Or it is, I don't know. I don't know all the rules. But this is where it's survival horror from now on. Peter Parker, Forge, Moonstone, and these two kids, they're just trying to make it. Everything is gone. And through, you know, Peter really is kind of channeling, they're kind of channeling Rick Grimes in this a little bit as the guy who's kind of have this like leader role thrust upon him, just trying to keep everybody safe as they look, you know, supplies and ways to survive. And there's a lot of really, you know, great little moments and quiet moments and good little discussion here. It's an interesting role for Spidey. That's what I kind of feel like this book is now, is really about Peter Parker and that whole, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, even during a zombie apocalypse. And he's not running around in his Spider-Man costume. It's underneath like his shirt. He doesn't have the mask on. He's just got regular clothes on here, as you can see. He actually kind of looks like Gambit a little bit to me with the like bow staff and the coat. And it's also interesting, Moonstone and Forge. It's like they just kind of threw a dartboard and like said, who do we have alive here? Forge is a really interesting choice to have survive because you can have somebody that can literally create whatever you need if given the right amount of time and supplies. And so that was pretty cool. Moonstone is like, wow, like I don't even remember the last time I read anything with Moonstone as a character in it. Really. So they've also got this character called Nana that we find out, and I mean, I'll just show you. But they're attacked by zombies. You know, they're fighting. They're having little groups, you know, talking. You know, as they come across, some zombies come, and little Chewy the cat, you know, eats a bunch of zombies or whatever, and all of a sudden they're also beset upon by somebody. And if you look, it says Bamf, Bamf, Bamf. Right? And it's like, oh shit, it's Nightcrawler. Yeah, Nightcrawler as a zombie attacks. And he's about to bite Peter, and all of a sudden, he gets just blasted apart. Right? And there's a Sentinel. And what they have used is Nana is a repurposed Sentinel that's been repurposed, assumably by Forge, to protect them. That's actually pretty smart. I really like that. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Even though they complain that, like, you know, they didn't want him to disintegrate him because they're trying to get a sample of the dead so that they can try to reverse it or cure it, even though later on it proves to be, or at least on the surface, that there is no cure. that nobody knows how to do it. So they go on and they realize that they're really close to Westchester and the X Mansion. And Peter, he's like, I don't know if we should go in there, man. There was a lot of, mutants there, and if they're undead, or they're calling them respawned, and there's also like meta respawns, whatever. Again, like I said, you're either in or you're out. But Forge wants to go in there because they need supplies, all the things that they have there, all the ways that the X Mansion was set up with all the kind of resources that they could possibly need. But Peter, he's just not wanting it. He's like, we've been using your roots, Forge. Are you telling me you accidentally let us here? And he doesn't want to risk the kids. And, Forge is telling him, like, look, man, let me put it this another way. You don't own me or the rest of us. I'm going home with or without you. So there's a risk, but Forge is taking it. And so live together, die alone, that kind of thing. So they go in there. I love this like bit where it's like Peter asks Forge if the lawn's like booby trapped or anything. He's like, what, like a minefield? Jeez, man, this was a school. Well, I remember this place getting bombed out like 50 times. He's like, well, kids used to eat lunch out here. So I really like those little bits of dialogue again. And they go in there and they talk about what happened the day that it all went down, that Beast was, well, the last time Forge was there, Beast was in charge. It was just a nice little moment. And they talk about deadheads. Now, deadheads are these people that the Respawn keep around that are lured. They lure in food. Basically, deadheads come and find you and are like, hey, why don't you come back to our camp where we have supplies? And really what they're leading to is a trap to be killed. And they basically are kept alive by the Respawn because of that purpose. And so they find, a bunch of survivors, believe it or not. And what you basically find out is, I believe they were put there. They were brought there by deadheads, and they were going to be used as food. And there's this another great moment where this older lady comes up to Peter, and she's like, I remember, like, they're so grateful to be found. That they actually feel like there's some hope because they see Spider-Man, they see an X-Man, they see superheroes that aren't changed. And she's like, I remember you. And he's like, huh, me? And she's because she can see the little bit of his costume underneath the shirt he's wearing. And she's like, I saw you once before in the city. A minivan went off a bridge and you caught it. You saved a whole family. God bless you, Spider-Man. God bless you. Now, it's a nice little moment that she's not even talking about herself. She's just remembering a better time when the heroes weren't killing all of them for food. And he starts to cry a little bit, and Forge is like, wow, almost like the old days, huh? But then he says a very Rick Grimes kind of thing to me. He's like, well, when we found them in there, you know what my first thought was? Thought, they'll lead the dead right to us. They'll never survive out there on their own. It's kinder to just lock them back inside. These last few years I've done things I never thought I'd do to protect Franklin and Val, But if I've fallen so far that I'm weighing the pros and cons of saving strangers' lives, I don't deserve to wear the suit any. And he's about to say anymore, but it turns out that the deadheads are there, and they're like, holy shit, like there's a real X-Man here. But it's too late. And they've brought them in close, and, there's this like doom, like big footsteps coming. And it's like, Master, we brought you mutates as offerings. They stole the others we were keeping for you. So they were keeping them for him. But mutates, that's even better, right? And he's basically, it's too late. This face is like about to eat him. And, you kind of know where this is going because it's like you see the blue and it's Beast. And he just totally just bites into this guy's head. Just his whole body just gets taken. And then, unfortunately, during this fight, Forge is like, Hank, it's me. And, it's like, we can cure you, man. Like you cured the legacy virus. We can get you back. And he just rips Forge in half. So it's like, oh, shit. There goes the inventor, right? So, he's like, shh, it's not your fault, old friend. You just haven't seen what I've seen, you know? And then Nana, the Sentinel, tries to blast. He blasts Beast. And, you know, the cat tries to jump in there too. I love this. Then Spidey grabs what almost looks like a power, like a surcharge, like a, what do you call those? The power strips, and he's just like flings it around and thwacks him with it. And it's like, what are you got gonna do that much with it? But he hits him with his own, you know, super strength, and he he hits him, and he wraps in his head and he rips it off, and his head's still talking. He's like, "You were on the Galactus mission. Where with our family? Where are they?" Or this is Franklin asking Beast. And Beast says, "Franklin Richards, most beloved of the eighth pillar, you were stolen from us. Your family is with him. He whose hunger will cleanse all worlds, they wait for you. Your parents wait for you there, Franklin. Come and see." So there's this he who hungers, and he gathers his armies in the Black Spring, the world behind the world where the ending begins. Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out what that is. Moonstone blasts his head, and you know Franklin's pissed off. He's like, "Why'd you do that? You could have led us to my family." He's like, "It's a trap, kid. The sooner you give up on this fantasy of curing your parents." And Val's like, "Well, why can't we cure them?" And then we have this whole, you know, argument about what to do. And then Moonstone she just kind of dips, and Peter kind of catches up to her. He's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "You remember that resistance cell we ran in with during the New York invasion? Max, Bucky, those guys?" So Bucky was still alive. "Well, those were good times. I mean, the fighting was intense, but we all knew it mattered, you know? Good guys, bad guys, all of us. So basically anybody who lived, like the villains, heroes, it was like just like in DCeased, where it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation, where everybody's working together to just live." And he's like, "And your whole devoted dad thing turned me on. It was cute, made me want to help." So it sounds like, Peter and Moonstone have been kind of having a little fling during this whole thing. Because why not? The world's coming to an end, right? "But the hero gig was never my thing. Hell, it's barely your thing anymore, and suicide missions to the Galactus Hive are definitely not my thing." And he tries to tell her, "Look, we're not really going to do that. I'm going to stop him." And she's like, "You keep telling yourself that, good luck, Pete." And she takes off. But they are able to get a sample of the radiation so that now they can see, anytime that something's nearby that has it, that's the dead or near, they'll know it. And they're just like, "Hey, we could, this is how we'll try to figure out the cure, right?" And Peter finally snaps, and he's like, "Will you please listen to me for once in your lives? There's no cure. You think we didn't try that from the very beginning? Those things' cells die before they even turn. A science whiz like you doesn't get that. You can't cure a dead organism." I like that. He's just kind of laying out. And actually for a second there, the way they had the Sentinel positioned behind his back here, I was like, oh shit, is the Sentinel going to consider Peter a threat and just vaporize him? But he says, like, "Look, I'm sorry. I know it's been hard. And I'm sorry, I haven't done better by you. But Moonstone just left us. Forge is dead. It's just us now. The only thing I have left is keeping you guys alive. Looking for your parents, looking for the Galactus Hive is suicide." And it's like, okay, we get it. We're sorry. We should just pack up and go. More going to be coming. And Peter looks down and sees a picture of the X-Men with Forge, Jean, Cyclops, and Beast there. And the helmet there in the end, and he's just like, damn it, just like looking at all this death and destruction, and he's all by himself. And they get this flashback of him when it happened. He's looking for MJ, and he finds he sees Reed and Sue and them have come back, but they're not themselves anymore. And, it's like, "Thank you for watching our kids. Mother will take it from here." And he's having a nightmare. And he wakes up and he's like, "Oh my God," right? And he's like running. He can't find the kids. He's like, "What's going on?" He gets all of a sudden blasted. Flies back. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'll go with you. I promise. Please don't go after them alone." Like thinking that the kids were leaving on their own. But he hears a voice, "Alone? They're not alone, Pete. None of you will ever be alone again. and she's destroyed. It looks like the Sentinel, and just before she can kill, there's all of a sudden a wick, 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 whomp, 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 and she's just cut to pieces. And the kids are all right, and the cat is there. But who should be standing there? But Blade. That's pretty dope, right? And so he's just like, before this one showed up, I overheard the other two saying they knew how to find the Galactus Hive. Room for one more? And that's the end of the issue. The next issue has, it looks like, I want to say it's the Green Goblin, but it really looks like more like, yeah, this is Nightcrawler again. The cover has Nightcrawler and Psylocke, but I guess the covers really don't mean much. They're just pretty cool looking. So anyway, that's Marvel Zombies Resurrection so far, and I realize I talked a really long time about it, but I'm really happy with it because, you know, sometimes it's good to step out of the continuity like DCeased, and especially when it's good and it's entertaining. And a lot of things right now are just not entertaining. I'm not getting a lot of value from a lot of things out there right now. So it's nice to read something that does take me out of my, you know, humdrum feelings and gives me something fun to read that doesn't take place in regular continuity. So I don't really have to take it so seriously. But it is giving me a lot of cool Walking Dead vibes. And I need that. I need a Walking Dead hole in my heart. The comic, not the show. Okay? The comic, you know, now that the comic is gone, there's like this Walking Dead comic hole in my heart. And this is kind of feeling it a little bit. And so I'm glad to be talking about it with you. If you liked this little review, walkthrough, show and tell, whatever of this, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Don't forget, it's been a long day. Don't forget to keep reading comics, everybody, and we'll see you on another video. Bye.